A licensed contractor from California holding a California contractor license but lacking an equivalent to a master license sought to obtain a Colorado contractor license. To address this situation, the contractor initially contacted previous employers, even if they were unavailable. The aim was to explain the situation and request any supporting documentation. Some employers were able to provide affidavits or letters of recommendation verifying the contractor's experience. Recognizing the difficulty in obtaining letters from past employers, the contractor assembled alternative documentation to substantiate experience. This included copies of work contracts, invoices and receipts, job performance evaluations, and reference letters from clients. The contractor also developed a detailed resume which outlined the work history, specific projects, responsibilities, and timeframes. In addition, the contractor emphasized their considerable experience as a licensed electrical contractor in California, asserting that this experience was comparable to a master license in other states. Based on the submitted documentation, the Colorado Licensing Board acknowledged the contractor's extensive work experience and granted a master electrical license by examination. When navigating this process, it is important to be persistent and thorough by gathering as much supporting documentation as possible and by being persistent in contacting former employers. It is also important to emphasize relevant experience by clearly demonstrating how experience in a similar role qualifies for the Colorado license. If needed, consider legal counsel by consulting with an attorney specializing in contractor licensing for assistance. Finally, it is important to stay updated by monitoring the Colorado Contractor Licensing Division website for any changes in requirements or documentation guidelines. It is also important to contact the Colorado Licensing Board directly with any questions or concerns. Firstly, gather as much supporting documentation as possible. Secondly, be persistent in contacting former employers. Thirdly, clearly demonstrate how your experience in a similar role qualifies you for the Colorado license. Fourthly, if necessary, consult with an attorney who specializes in contractor licensing to assist you with the process. Fifthly, monitor the Colorado Contractor Licensing Division website for any changes in requirements or documentation guidelines. It is important to understand the typical requirements to become a licensed electrical contractor. These generally include meeting certain age requirements, having a high school diploma or equivalent, completing a specified number of hours of electrical work experience under the supervision of a licensed electrician, and passing an examination. While specific requirements vary, understanding them is crucial. In the United States, electrical work is governed by the National Electrical Code, or NEC. This code, published by the National Fire Protection Association or NFPA, provides the standards for safe electrical installation. Electrical contractors must be intimately familiar with this code. This code covers a wide range of topics, including wiring methods, overcurrent protection, grounding, and equipment installation. Electrical contractors need to understand Ohm's law, which describes the relationship between voltage, current, and resistance. The formula for Ohm's law is voltage equals current times resistance, often written as volts equals amps times ohms. Understanding this law is essential for calculating circuit parameters, selecting appropriate components, and troubleshooting electrical problems. Series circuits are those in which components are connected end-to-end, forming a single path for current flow. In a series circuit, the current is the same through all components, and the total resistance is the sum of the individual resistances. Parallel circuits are those in which components are connected side by side, providing multiple paths for current flow. In a parallel circuit, the voltage is the same across all components, and the total current is the sum of the individual currents. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect electrical circuits from excessive current flow. These devices interrupt the circuit when the current exceeds a predetermined level, preventing damage to equipment and reducing the risk of fire. Grounding is the process of connecting electrical equipment to the earth. Grounding provides a low resistance path for fault current to flow, helping to protect people from electric shock. Grounding also helps to stabilize voltage levels and reduce electrical noise. Conduit is a type of tubing used to protect electrical wiring. Common types of conduit include rigid metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, and flexible metal conduit. Each type of conduit has different properties and is suitable for different applications. Wiring methods refer to the way in which electrical wires are installed. Common wiring methods include Romex wiring, which is non-metallic sheet cable, and THHN wiring, which is thermoplastic high-heat nylon wire installed in conduit. Each wiring method has different advantages and disadvantages and is suitable for different applications. Electrical panels, also known as load centers, are used to distribute electricity throughout a building. Electrical panels contain circuit breakers or fuses that protect individual circuits from overcurrent. Electrical panels must be properly sized to accommodate the electrical load of the building. Transformers are used to change voltage levels. Step-up transformers increase voltage, while step-down transformers decrease voltage. Transformers are used in a variety of applications, including power distribution, lighting, and electronic equipment. Motors are used to convert electrical energy into mechanical energy. Common types of motors include AC motors and DC motors. Motors are used in a variety of applications, including pumps, fans, and compressors. Lighting is an important aspect of electrical work. Common types of lighting include incandescent lighting, fluorescent lighting, and LED lighting. Each type of lighting has different properties and is suitable for different applications. Control systems are used to automate electrical processes. Common types of control systems include relays, timers, and programmable logic controllers or PLC. Control systems are used in a variety of applications, including industrial automation, building automation, and lighting control. Firstly, NEC Article 210.12 requires arc fault circuit interrupter or SI protection for branch circuits that supply outlets or devices installed in dwelling units. Secondly, NEC Article 210.11 specifies the required number and type of branch circuits for dwelling units, including small appliance branch circuits and laundry circuits. Thirdly, NEC Article 250 provides the requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems, including the size and type of grounding conductors. Fourthly, NEC Article 300 contains general requirements for wiring methods and materials, including the protection of conductors and cables. Fifthly, NEC Article 310 provides the requirements for conductor ampacity, including the allowable ampacity of different types of conductors in different conditions. Sixthly, NEC Article 404 covers switches, including the type of switches permitted in different locations and the requirements for switch installations. Seventhly, NEC Article 406 covers receptacles, including the type of receptacles permitted in different locations and the requirements for receptacle installations. Eighthly, NEC Article 408 covers panel boards, including the requirements for panel board construction, installation, and overcurrent protection. Ninthly, NEC Article 430 covers motors and motor circuits, including the requirements for motor protection, motor control, and motor wiring. Tenthly, NEC Article 500 through 516 contain requirements for hazardous locations, including the types of equipment permitted in different hazardous locations and the requirements for wiring in hazardous locations. The Colorado State Electrical Board generally requires applicants for an electrical contractor license to have at least 4 years of experience working under a licensed electrician. This experience must be documented and verified. Some states have reciprocity agreements with Colorado, which may allow licensed contractors from those states to obtain a Colorado license without having to take the examination. However, the specific requirements for reciprocity vary. The application process for a Colorado electrical contractor license typically involves submitting an application form, providing proof of experience, and passing an examination. The examination covers the NEC and other relevant electrical codes. Electrical contractors in Colorado are required to carry liability insurance to protect themselves from liability in case of accidents or injuries. The amount of insurance required varies depending on the type of work performed. Continuing education is typically required for electrical contractors to renew their licenses. The specific requirements for continuing education vary. Electrical contractors in Colorado must comply with all applicable state and local laws and regulations, including building codes, zoning ordinances, and environmental regulations. Failure to comply with these laws and regulations can result in fines, penalties, and even the revocation of the contractor's license. It is important to ensure that the electrical work performed is compliant with all applicable codes and regulations, as failure to do so can result in safety hazards and legal liability. One of the first steps in preparing for an electrical contractor license exam is to thoroughly review the NEC. The NEC is a comprehensive document that covers all aspects of electrical installations. The exam will test your knowledge of the NEC, so it is important to be familiar with its contents. In addition to the NEC, it is also important to study other relevant electrical codes and standards. These codes and standards may cover specific types of electrical installations or equipment. There are many resources available to help you prepare for the electrical contractor license exam. These resources include study guides, practice exams, and online courses. It is important to choose resources that are up to date and relevant to the exam. Taking practice exams is a great way to assess your knowledge and identify areas where you need to improve. Practice exams can also help you get familiar with the format and content of the actual exam. Many electrical contractor license exams are timed, so it is important to practice taking exams under timed conditions. This will help you develop your time management skills and ensure that you are able to complete the exam within the allotted time. It may be helpful to form a study group with other people who are preparing for the electrical contractor license exam. Studying with others can help you stay motivated and learn from each other. Electrical contractors need to have a strong understanding of electrical theory. This includes understanding Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's laws, and other fundamental electrical concepts. Electrical contractors need to be able to read and interpret electrical blueprints. This includes understanding electrical symbols, diagrams, and schematics. Electrical contractors need to be able to troubleshoot electrical problems. This includes using testing equipment to identify the source of the problem and then making the necessary repairs. Electrical contractors need to be familiar with the different types of electrical equipment and materials. This includes understanding the proper use and installation of each type of equipment and material. Electrical contractors need to be able to follow safety procedures. This includes wearing appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, and following safe work practices. Article 90. 1 of the NEC states that the NEC covers the installation of electrical conductors and equipment within or on public and private buildings or other structures, including mobile homes, recreational vehicles, and floating buildings and other premises such as yards, carnivals, parking lots, and industrial substations. Article 110.3b states that listed or labeled equipment shall be installed and used in accordance with any instructions included in the listing or labeling. This requirement is important because it ensures that electrical equipment is installed and used safely and correctly. Electrical contractors need to understand the different types of wiring methods that are permitted by the NEC. Common wiring methods include rigid metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, and non-metallic sheath cable. Electrical contractors need to understand the requirements for grounding and bonding electrical systems. Grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety because they provide a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to protect people from electric shock. Electrical contractors need to understand the requirements for overcurrent protection. Overcurrent protection devices, such as circuit breakers and fuses, are designed to protect electrical circuits from excessive current flow. Electrical contractors need to understand the requirements for wiring devices, such as switches and receptacles. Wiring devices must be installed correctly in order to ensure that they function properly and safely. Electrical contractors need to understand the requirements for lighting. Lighting must be installed in accordance with the NEC in order to ensure that it is safe and energy efficient. Electrical contractors need to understand the requirements for motors. Motors must be installed in accordance with the NEC in order to ensure that they are protected from overloads and other hazards. Electrical contractors need to understand the requirements for transformers. Transformers must be installed in accordance with the NEC in order to ensure that they are safe and efficient. Electrical contractors need to understand the requirements for special occupancies, such as hazardous locations and healthcare facilities. Special occupancies have unique electrical requirements that must be followed in order to ensure the safety of people and property. It is important to be aware of the administrative requirements for obtaining and maintaining an electrical contractor license in Colorado. This includes understanding the application process, the examination requirements, and the continuing education requirements. It is also important to be aware of the fees associated with obtaining and maintaining an electrical contractor license. These fees can vary depending on the type of license and the location of the business. It is important to understand the legal and ethical responsibilities of an electrical contractor. This includes understanding the laws and regulations that govern the electrical industry, as well as the ethical principles that should guide the conduct of electrical contractors. Electrical contractors have a responsibility to provide safe and reliable electrical services to their customers. This includes ensuring that all electrical work is performed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. Electrical contractors also have a responsibility to protect the public from electrical hazards. This includes ensuring that all electrical work is performed safely and that all electrical equipment is properly maintained. It is important to stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC and other electrical codes and standards. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it is important to stay current on the latest changes. There are a number of ways to stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC and other electrical codes and standards. These include attending continuing education courses, reading trade publications, and subscribing to online resources.